Have you always known that you're on a soul path? And have you wondered how to gain real insight into the steps along your own unique journey? Welcome everyone, I'm Sarah Main, and thank you for joining me on Damayanti, the show for your soul. It's great to have you join me. Damayanti means deep peace and calm. Damayanti sheds a light for your soul through the gift of wisdom that shines in the beautiful and universal language of Sanskrit. Damayanti is the show that speaks to your soul, connects with your soul, and enriches your soul. Welcome everyone, welcome along. This is Damayanti, the show for your soul with me, Sarah Main. And today I'm going to be talking about mindfulness and presence. What is it and why should we bother? Because there's a lot of talk about the power and benefit of mindfulness today. So what is it exactly and why should we take the time to be present? Because there's incredible power and value to coming into the now. You can read books about it. There's tons of people talking about it. When I started on my soul path and my spiritual journey, I was young. I followed my parents. I was interested. Like young, I mean 10 years old. And the term mindfulness basically didn't exist in those days. And there certainly weren't books and books and books, and technology and podcasts didn't exist. So I've been around long enough to watch this whole thing about mindfulness and evolve, sort of just emerge. I was taught really from the perspective of presence rather than this term mindfulness, but I'll use mindfulness. But presence is really where I specifically relate and can resonate with. So mindfulness and presence are basically the same thing. So mindfulness 101, what is it and what does it do? What is it and what does it do? All right, now, Eckhart Tolle is one of the fathers of the mindfulness movement, teaching mindfulness, and he's the author of The Power of Now, which if you haven't read it, I recommend that you do. You can listen to it as an audiobook. It's fantastic. It's been around a while now. So Eckhart Tolle, he said, you can't think about presence and the mind can't understand it. Okay, that's a good opening. You can't think about presence and the mind can't understand it. Understanding presence is being present. End of quote. I'm going to read it again. Let this sink in. You can't think about presence and the mind can't understand it. Understanding presence is being present. Now, I could end the show right there, right? Because basically it's a bit of a contradiction to now start talking about it, but we do need to talk about it. The mind needs some education, and then eventually the mind will be quiet and just sit down and sort of settle down, because it's impossible to actually fully understand presence by using the mind. That's like, I don't know, it's like trying to bake a cake by putting it in the dishwasher or something. It's like using the wrong tool for the job. You are never going to understand presence, think mindfulness, by using the mind, all right? And you can't think about it because that's not presence either. The mind actually has to settle down because presence is beyond the mind completely. So understanding, the real understanding, is in being. And for that, we need to be still. All right. And that's even physically still helpful, but you can be in movement, performing tasks, and still be present, because presence is beyond all those physical activities, and it's beyond all the mental movement as well. So what is presence? What is mindfulness? So mindfulness and presence is being present here and now. Try it, being present here and now. Mindfulness and presence is observing. It's witnessing. Witnessing what? Observing what? Thoughts and emotions that come and go all the time. The thoughts coming and going all the time. The emotions, the feelings coming and going all the time. It's just how it is. It's like standing on the seashore, watching the waves coming in and going out, coming in, going out. Sometimes they're just very gentle, lapping on the shore. Sometimes it's much more violent and strong. But they come and they go. Never do the waves on the shore stop, ever, completely. Well, the same with thoughts and feelings. It's in their nature to come and go in response to circumstances. And witnessing and observing is watching the thoughts and emotions come and go without engaging with them, just watching them come and go. It's watching the stories, listening to the mental stories we have come and go. Watching the narratives, listening to the narratives, being aware of the narratives, inner narratives, stories attached to everything, watching them come and go. And notice if they come, they go. They don't come and stay. They only appear to stay if we hang on to them. But they come and they go. It's in their nature to rise and fall, rise and fall. Think of the ocean and the waves, the seashore and the waves. What are we witnessing in being present? Watching the associations of things, loose associations, connections between things come and then go. So examples of what it's like, of the feelings of what it's like. And that's all you can really, in terms of describing it, I can only just sort of give pointers. It's like signposts, examples of presence, of mindfulness, awareness. Think of a calm lake with no ripples on it. That's the sense of being. Think of that calm lake or a pond with no ripples. That's being, here and now. Think of an open window with the breeze blowing freely, the breeze blowing through it freely. Just blowing in and out, not stopping, just blowing through. Well, that's what it's like being present and just witnessing and watching and observing, being aware. Think of, consider the openness, the serenity, being unconcerned, no matter what's rising and falling. And yet we're fully connected. We're not disassociated. We're not disconnected. We do feel the feelings. They are felt. But we're not attaching to them and creating an identity or a story, an association. Think of the focus of a sports person. I know a young guy who's an Olympic diver. He's on the Olympic dive team. And you watch his focus when he's about to dive, and he could be on that 10-meter platform. So he's high up and he's focusing, and then he does this incredibly complex series of tumbles and twists and turns, and then lands precisely in the water with a minimum splash, right? That just takes that focused attention where he's not considering anything else at that moment. These are just sort of signposts, I suppose, pointers to being, because you can't think about presence. It's the only way you'll understand it is by being present, being. So being aware, being awake, being just being. It's not partially aware, not what's called waking sleep, and that's a halfway state. Being partially aware, it can be called waking sleep, and that's a halfway state where we're neither fully awake or completely asleep. Shakespeare, again, brilliant description of this waking sleep. In The Tempest, he said, "This is a strange repose." One of the characters wakes up and says, "This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep." That is a perfect description of waking sleep. So being awake and aware, and not caught up in thoughts, not lost in feelings and thoughts, whilst we're still doing things. So we can be driving and thinking about cooking dinner. We can be talking to someone and thinking about how we're bored and we want to do something else. We're fully there. That's not judging the situation. It's just fully present in the moment. We're not disconnected from the present moment. We're here and now. And we're not lost in the past. We're not disconnected from the present moment. We're here and now, and we're not projecting ahead to the future. So waking sleep, things like missing a turn-off when we're driving because our attention's on something else, listening to someone speak with one ear listening to the thoughts and the other ear listening to the person. My spiritual teacher said you listen with both ears. Listen with both ears, and that's quite a discipline in itself. Listen with both ears. Doing simple daily tasks like brushing your teeth while the mind's wandering all over the place, weaving a web of loose associations, like you start tasting the mint in the toothpaste and you remember the mint tea you had in a Moroccan restaurant when you were on vacation, and the waiter had a brightly coloured shirt that was just like your grandmother's tablecloth, and your grandmother always baked cookies when you visited, and you miss your grandmother, and then you remember you need to call your mother to wish her happy birthday, and it just goes on and on and on. And that's the mind out of control, just weaving this web of loose associations from one to the other. There's disconnection in a form of waking sleep. We are not awake, and nor are we in deep sleep. So being inwardly still whilst engaged in action and giving full attention whilst engaged in action, we need to start with calm and don't just end with calm. We start with stillness, don't just end with stillness. We need to come into the present moment before we start the task. Very important. And that beautiful Buddhist monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, said the most precious gift we can offer others is our presence. When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. That is such a beautiful thing to consider. So the best advice I was ever given, this is what to practice in terms of presence, is to fall still, remember who you are, and then give full attention to the matter in hand. And let go of all the thoughts and feelings as they arise. Just let them go. Let them come and go whilst remaining present with the task. And in other words, it's complete commitment with complete detachment. Complete commitment with complete detachment. And in Sanskrit, that's called nivritti through prariti. Nivritti through prariti. Complete commitment with complete detachment. So that's a little walk through mindfulness and presence. What is it and why should we bother? It's the starting point is Mindfulness 101. What is it and what it does? All right, so we're going to take a break now. And after the break, I'm going to talk about why is presence essential? What's the practical benefit? What's the payoff? All right, why should we bother? Which is the second part of this show. So I'll be back after the break. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Damayanti, the show for your soul. And today's show is all about mindfulness and presence. What is it and why should we bother? So before the break, I was talking about mindfulness, just describing, giving you pointers, signposts, really. You can't actually take mindfulness and say, this is what it is. All you can do is indicate, because understanding mindfulness and understanding presence is just being. The understanding is there. There's no thoughts, there's no words to describe it, because it's not an it. Like I said at the beginning, I could just stop the show there and then, but here we are. So let's continue. I've described this complete commitment with complete detachment. It's not that you sit doing nothing. You practice being present whilst the body's still, and then you engage in what you need to do in life with that presence, in that presence, connected to that presence. And that means letting things come and go, surrendering, renouncing, letting them go, not holding on to thoughts and feelings, not holding on to experiences. They are experienced, they are felt, they are thought, and they're let go of. Think of a window with the breeze blowing freely through. It comes in and goes out, right? And the nature of these thoughts and feelings and experiences, all of them, the memories, everything, is that they are temporary, they are impermanent, they come and they go. And being present means we can watch an experience and let them be experienced and then let them go. So now let's consider mindfulness, the payoff. Why is presence essential? And what's the practical benefit? What's the payoff? Because frankly, as human beings, we're not going to practice, we're not actually going to engage with this unless we know there's a practical benefit and a payoff from it. So the essential point about presence, the practical benefit, the payoff, is conscious confidence, that inner steadiness and strength that's like a great tree with deep roots. That tree is able to withstand storms and winds. It's able to provide food and shelter for others, all while remaining mighty and strong and resilient. Okay, just get that image of a great, magnificent tree. This is us, right? With deep, deep roots that's there for a long time, and it's able to withstand everything that the outer world presents. Sun, the wind, the storms, the lightning, the hail, and provide shelter and food for others, all while remaining strong and resilient. Okay, we have unlimited possibilities in the present moment. When we fall still and we're genuinely open and in being and presence, there are unlimited possibilities in the present moment. And it is impossible for the mind to actually understand that, because the mind is a limited tool. It has limits. So when the mind is still and for the most part sort of disappears for a moment, these possibilities are evident in this sort of sense of potential in the presence and the present moment. You don't know what you're capable of unless you are open to trying new things, stepping out of your comfort zone, feeling that uncertainty of something new. If everything feels sort of known and familiar, then we're still in a comfort zone. We're still doing the same things. But if we're open to trying new things, we don't know what we're capable of. And these things present themselves in the present moment, and we can recognize them as opportunities, okay? Rather than challenges. Sometimes they're challenging, but then there'll always be an opportunity in there as well. And you have much to give of yourself. And this is, and really in the end, giving of yourself is all you have to give ultimately. There was once a teacher, he taught at a school in Australia. He taught for decades and decades and decades, you know. And he was once interviewed at, I think it's his 50th anniversary at the school. And I saw him on television. And in this interview, the journalist said, what have you learned? What can you offer new teachers after 50 years of teaching? And he said, give of yourself, because in the end, that's all you have to give. And that really, really struck me as a teacher. And I needed to hear that message at that time, because I was feeling particularly tired and jaded as a teacher. And it just gave me a whole new perspective. Give of yourself, because in the end, that's all you have to give. So one of the benefits of presence is that we can dig deeply into this conscious confidence and give of ourselves at a level that is far greater than just knowledge and information. And we connect with our true value system within. And what that means, our value system is what is, so that what we do is meaningful and fulfilling. Our value system is connecting with that which is of highest importance to us, And it may be something that we don't always think about when we're busy, but that which is of highest importance to us, that which is of lasting and abiding importance to us. So when we are still and present, we immediately connect with that sort of sense of that which is important. And it rearranges our priorities so that how we attend to something, we bring that value system into play as we attend to what we need to do. When we speak to someone, if respect is important to you, when we're inwardly still and present, we bring that respect for ourselves and for that person to bear. It's natural. It doesn't get covered over by other thoughts and feelings and narratives and so on. They just cloud the issue. So being connected with our value system, that which is truly important to us, and often that can be expressed, our inner core values can often be expressed in 3 core values, maximum 5, but 3 ideally. 3 core values, and everyone's got their own one that resonates for them and is important to them. So this inner guidance system of values is there when we fall still. It's natural. And that doesn't go away. Even as we grow up, our values can change a bit as we grow and through life experience, but there are some fundamental ones that are always there. Just how we express them and how we understand them, that changes. So bringing presence, being in presence and in being open, is one of the really important practical benefits. And the payoff is this fulfillment and satisfaction that you are aligned with what's important to you and for you as you go about your daily life, as you live your life, as you proceed on your soul path, self-discovery path. It comes back to presence. So it's infinitely practical. And you discover that you are far more capable, you are far greater than you ever realized yourself to be. You are not some little limited being with a limited amount of skills and a limited amount of potential. So important. You are ever evolving. You are ever evolving. This consciousness, this being, this presence, this mindfulness is ever evolving. It's not a static thing. And it's limitless. This presence is limitless. It's everywhere. When you get on an airplane and fly for 10 hours and get off the airplane, that presence is there, full and complete. It's all knowing. The knowledge is always available in the present moment. You ask the question in the present moment, the answer's there. You will be presented with what you need to know in that moment. You ask yourself, what is the next best step to take now? And you're still, the answer will be there, and it'll be immediate and practical and simple. And you follow that, and the next step will become evident and become evident. So this presence is alive, it's active in the sense, well, it's alive, it's conscious, all knowledge is there, it's everywhere. So that beautiful Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh said, enlightenment is growing all the time. It's not something that happens once and is then complete. Enlightenment is growing all the time. It's not something that happens once and is then complete. So I can only encourage you to practice being present. It takes no equipment, just be present. Just stop for a moment, take a deep breath, come into the present moment, fall still, remember who you are, and then give full attention to the matter in hand. So the payoff and the practical benefits of mindfulness and presence and being awake are limitless. because you are a magnificent, limitless, divine being. And that's the truth. So good luck with it. Mindfulness, presence, practice it. It absolutely is important, and you really should bother about it. So if you want to know more about Damayanti, go to my website, damayanti.store. I've got a beautiful collection of spiritual jewelry with Sanskrit mantras engraved on them. They're gorgeous. There's 8 collections of them. So keep that lasting memory and connection with you, an energetic reminder, and it's something beautiful. I'm wearing my Satya heart necklace today, and I love having it. It's just that connection, and Satya means truth. So there are 8 collections. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I have a new Facebook group, Self-Discovery for Women, Connection, Purpose and Vision. Come along, join the group. We'd love to have you along. And if you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. That always helps the channel as well. So follow along, damayanti.store, and find me on my socials as well. And I always like to finish with some beautiful Sanskrit, so purifying and uplifting. This is the peace prayer from the Yajur Veda. So before I start, thank you for joining me, and I'm going to finish with the prayer, and we can end in peace. In heaven, peace, peace in the space between, on earth, peace, on the waters, peace, in plants, peace, in trees, peace, peace in all powers, in spirit, peace, peace in everything, peace, alone, peace, 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 peace. Om Dhyau Shanti, Antarikshan Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Apa Shanti, Oshadhaya Shanti, Vanaspataya Shanti, Vishwe Deva Shanti, Brahma Shanti, Sarvang Shanti, Shanti Reva Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you for spending time with me on Damayanti, the show for your soul. To find out more about Damayanti, or to get my book, Conscious Confidence, Use the Wisdom of Sanskrit to Find Clarity and Success, or to purchase my range of beautiful spiritual jewelry, go to my website, damayanti.store. That's damayanti.store. See you next time.